Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we have another Marvel Rivals tier list here. This one I figured is kind of like a oddly Pacific one to a certain extent, but we're gonna base like what tank we do not like seeing as a support. I play support majority of the time, and obviously, you go a lot trying to get away from that tank a lot of the times, and just in general, like seeing which one you just hate to go against, I guess is the best way of saying it. S tier being the one I hate the most, and D tier being the one that I could care less to go against, or I don't mind going against. I think that's the best way of putting it. I don't know. It's weird with like having this tier list like S to air, because I think this tier list is mainly built for like the power of the tank, and I don't necessarily believe that like going after or like how you fear as a support compared to the power of the tank is the same, because some tanks are just good but you don't have to fear them because they're not going to be trying to kill you 24/7. And like perfect example of that is Captain America right off the bat, because it's like I feel like anytime I play against Cap, he sometimes is going after people, but he seems like he's targets the DPS a lot. And I don't know if that's just like bad play. I don't really, like I said, I have very limited play on tank myself, so like I don't really necessarily know, but like I never really feel like he's a problem against me. It's just like he's constantly blocking and like he's all over the place. I mean, he's definitely feels like the good like second tank. Like with having the 6v6, I think his play style fits that really well. So I'll probably put him in C. I'm not too scared of him. Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is kind of like I feel like always is annoying because he takes a lot to get taken down, and like with his shield and stuff, which I mean any shield hero in general is going to be like that. um but I don't know if I really ever fear Doctor Strange on the other side. And remember, I just kind of play regular, so maybe I'm just getting extremely lucky, and that's my thing. This is only my opinion because of me putting the time in the game that I've played so far. So like I might be having just the luckiest time by not having to deal with Doctor Strange that much. But I'm gonna put him in D. I don't really fear seeing him on the other side as much as some of these other ones. Next up is Groot. Groot's is just like those walls are super annoying because they wall off people, or you get walled in between something and you're trying to just survive. I definitely don't like Groot as much compared to some of the other ones. I don't think he's like super OP. That I mean, there has been some really good Groots that I've gone against, but like I don't think it's like a standard thing where it's just like you lock in Groot just to absolutely dominate compared to some of the rest of these tanks. I'll put him in A. I think he's definitely annoying, but he's definitely not the worst tank to go against. Next up is Hulk. Um, I feel like you either get a really good Hulk or a really bad Hulk. I don't know if that's just kind of something that I've only experienced. Like there's a lot of times where I'm just like constantly getting chased down and he's destroying everybody. And then there's other times where he's Bruce Banner 90% of the time because he just keeps getting like teamed up on because he's over there attacking like all the DPS or the other two tanks. So I'll put him in the middle of the road, honestly. I think he's one of those weird ones. And I feel like sometimes like with his alt, it's the same way too, because like his alt feels pretty good when it's in a closed spot, but like a lot of times they pop it where there's only gonna get like one person and it kind of feels underpowered at that point. Magneto, I've never really had many problems with Magneto. To be honest, out of all the tanks here, Magneto is probably the one I've seen the least, and maybe that's just because of what I play. I mean, you guys would have to tell me if I'm ranking him too low, but I'm gonna put him in D. It's just because I I maybe I can't even think of how many matches. I would say it's probably still in the single digits of seeing a Magneto, and if I do, they switch off really fast. But I've never think I've even faced a Magneto for the entire like game, and that might just be because nobody knows how to play him correctly or something like that. But I don't know. And next up is Penny Parker. Penny's definitely a middle of the road tank to go against. Like stuff can get complicated, and the mines and all that type of stuff can get really bad, really fast if there's not a lot of like team awareness. So it could get pretty nasty. It's the only tank that I've probably put the most amount of time in playing myself, at least in season zero. Groot I played the most in the beta. Um, so I would say overall she's a pretty solid tank, at least in my eyes, and that she's also pretty hit or miss to go against. Just kind of the team util of like if our team is very on top of getting rid of her stuff, she kind of feels underpowered and useless to a certain extent. But then if nobody's looking at it and she's building up and getting stuff the way that she wants to, she could be very deadly. And I think her alt's pretty decent if you know how to dive in and get in there, especially if it's like a team push. That could you could get a good team wipe with that. So I'll put her in B. I don't hate to see her or like to see her. Four, I would say I'm leaning more towards A with him. I feel like a lot of the times when I do see four, he's just like constantly on me, and I don't know if I like that. It sounded more sus in my brain when I said it. I was like, oh no. But I think he's definitely powerful, and I don't like necessarily going after him. I think it's because he definitely targets support, and I mean that's perfectly valid. You're supposed to be doing your job and stuff like that, and I feel like that's kind of like how his build is to just go after the weakest characters out there, and I think it works pretty well. And then we got Venom. I think Venom is my least favorite tank to go against for sure. And it's because he's so good and he has the mobility to get behind. But like he finds any support, including myself, if I'm alone or I took the wrong turn and all of a sudden Venom shows up in that dark alley and just attacks me and stuff. So I'm gonna go with Venom being the worst tank. I just like the worst tank to go against. I gotta word that better. But yeah, quick little tier list, and I just wanted you guys to see as a support, I guess. You guys would have to tell me how you guys feel with other positions and stuff. I've put the most time in support, so that's how I see it, at least in the support eyes. Like I said, DPS and other stuff could be a little bit different when you have the tools to heavily damage a tank. It makes it a little bit less scary. But when you're playing support, you're just half the time trying to make sure your team's up, and the other time you're running for your life. So, yeah, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.